In May this year, some of the smartest software founders and investors in the world gathered at a conference in San Mateo, California. Billions of dollars of ambition sitting in one hall. And as they sat there, they heard the drone of a small plane overhead. They looked up. The plane was towing a banner, and the banner called just 3 words: SaaS is dead. Think about the logistic of that message for a moment. Someone hired a plane, printed a banner, and flew a funeral notice over an entire industry's own conference. And the man who paid for it was not an outsider. He was one of their own, a former SaaS chief executive. Now, think about the message itself. SaaS, that is software as a service, was the golden industry of the last 15 years, creating massive valuation for companies like Slack, Zoom, Salesforce, Workday, and many more. Companies that raised hundreds of millions, went public in blockbuster IPOs, and made Silicon Valley what it is today. And here was that plane declaring the whole thing is dead. Was he right? Is AI really killing the software industry? And what does it mean for India, for our IT giants, for the millions of engineers in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Pune, and yes, for the logistic technology that run our own industry? That is today's story on Logistically Speaking, and stay with me till the end, where I explain the smarter playbook, the tech bubble of the 90s that quietly helped India, and more. Let me describe a pattern that is repeating across hundreds of software startups right now, because once you see the pattern, you understand the old disruption. Picture a typical startup from the pandemic years. A founder spot a gap, build a software that automates some administrative work, and the timing looked perfect. Money is cheap, investors are hungry, and the companies like this have raised $20, $30, $50 million almost overnight. And within a year or two, many were valued at $100 million or more, and some far beyond that also. Then generative AI arrived, and the very work those products were built to assist, AI could simply do. Suddenly, a couple of engineers using AI could reproduce an entire product built over the years in a matter of weeks or even days. So, the founders of these established companies tried the obvious option. They bolted AI features onto their existing product to stay competitive. But they soon realized something. This shortcut felt like attaching an engine onto a horse-drawn carriage. The engine is powerful, but the vehicle was never designed for it. The ones who survived did something much harder. They burned the ships. They laid off large part of their teams, stopped selling the very product that had raised all that money, and told their investors that everything built before was no longer relevant, and rebuilt from scratch with the AI at the center of the architecture, not as a tag-along one. Their new product do not help a salesperson or an operation executive to do the work. They do the work themselves, tracking the customers, spotting deals that are slipping, forecasting revenue, and making telecalls, handling operations all on their own. This AI teammate sit on top of the company's other system and handle the business right from lead management to daily operation, and goes on to the extent of removing the dependence on business intelligence software and create the report themselves. Some founders saw the writing on the wall early and adopted new technology and survived. But even for them, the uncertainty still hangs in the air. At a gathering of struggling founders in Manhattan, one venture capitalist put that fear bluntly. Describing the companies in his own portfolio, he said, "Anthropic is going to have it for lunch." So, why is one technology shaking the entire software world and not just a few startups? Let me explain. Because the answer comes down to one simple shift. The old model of software was tools. You built a tool and humans use the tool to get work done. The new model is AI agent that does not help you do the work but does the work itself. And when the AI does the work, why do you need the tool in between? Remember what I said about the 2 engineers reproducing an entire product in weeks. One founder took that thought to its brutal conclusion. He said, if 2 engineers can reproduce your entire product in a matter of few weeks, then you deserve to be killed. Harsh words, but that is the fear driving boardrooms today. And you can see it in the numbers. Shares of the big public SaaS names like Workday, Salesforce, and Adobe have fallen by more than 30% from their peaks. IBM lost $69 billion of value in a single day in July after warning that customer spending was shifting from software to AI hardware. Airtable, once privately valued at $11 billion, was just sold for $1.3 billion. People in Silicon Valley have even coined a word for it, the SaaSpocalypse. But there is another side of the story, and this is important. The companies that embrace AI early are growing. Intercom, a 15-year-old customer service software business, built an AI agent called Finn. It reached $400 million in annual recurring revenue, and Salesforce agreed to buy it for $3.6 billion. Gong retrained its workforce and crossed $500 million in revenue, growing over 55%. So the industry has split into two camps: those who embraced AI and are growing, and those who did not. And as one industry veteran put it, all the pre-AI guys are gone. They are just not growing. Now, let me bring this home, because for India, this is not Silicon Valley story. This is Dalal Street story and a Bangalore story and even a Chennai story. Start with our own SaaS champions, because the same storm has reached them. Freshwork, the Chennai-born company that became India's first SaaS firm to list on Nasdaq, has felt it directly. Its stock has been hammered along with the oil sector down heavily over the past year, and analysts keep flagging the same risk, that is, competition from bigger AI native players. The company has responded the way survivors do. It restructured, cut around 11% of its workforce, pushed hard into AI agents, and now has thousands of customers paying for its AI product. It reached full year profitability for the first time in its history, and still the market punished it for not growing fast enough. That tells you how brutal the repricing is. Even doing well is not enough if AI natives are doing better. And then there is Zoho story, which is fascinating. Zoho is bootstrapped and private, so there is no stock price to punish. And its founder, 𝗱𝗲𝗱𝗮, has taken a contrarian public stand. He says the $1 trillion AI data center built out is a bubble and Zoho will not chase it. Instead, Zoho built its own small language model or SLM in-house and launched its own AI agent across its product and crossed 1 million paying customers with a revenue still growing at around 20%. 𝗱𝗲𝗱 also says that AI now let its senior engineers ship 3 weeks of work in a single day. Have you noticed something? A frugal Indian company refusing to burn capital, building small focus model and betting on productivity. That is almost exactly the smarter playbook I will describe in a few minutes. Now widen the lens to our IT service industry, which employs close to 6 million people. This year the market has repriced it brutally. The Nifty IT index down by more than 20% in 2026. Since their peak in August 2024, our top 5 IT companies, that is TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL and Tech Mahindra, have together lost over 15 lakh crore rupees in market value. Think about that number, 15 lakh crore. These 5 giants together are now worth roughly the same as Reliance Industries alone. And just a couple of years ago, TCS by itself was racing Reliance for the top spot. And the trigger for the worst single day came from outside India. In June, Accenture trimmed its revenue growth forecast by just 1 percentage point. 1%. Its stock fell nearly 18%, and by the next morning, Infosys had crashed 8% to a 5-year low and TCS fell 6.5%. Why the market is so nervous? Because the fear chain is simple. If AI shrinks the software, it also shrinks the service work of building and maintaining that software. And the hiring numbers show something real is shifting. The top 5 Indian IT firms actually reduced headcount this financial year after adding thousands the year before. Fresh graduate hiring has dropped sharply from the older averages. But writing off Indian IT would be premature. This industry has survived every transition before: Y2K, offshoring, cloud, and digital. TCS crossed $2 billion in annualized AI revenue this year, and Infosys signed $15 billion of large deals. The work is changing shape from armies of coders to smaller teams supervising AI. The question is not whether Indian IT survives. The question is how many people the new model needs and how fast the industry retrains for it. And for our logistic world, the same logic applies. freight tech, visibility platform, TMS software, rate management tools, and every one of them now faces the same question these startups faced. Are you the engine or are you the horse-drawn carriage? Now, let me tell you what I think the smarter playbook look like, because the panic headlines miss two important ideas that people who know this industry deeply are talking about. The first is about jobs. The lazy answer to AI is layoff, fire people, cut costs, show the market a better margin. But there is a stronger argument doing the rounds among India's most respected technology veterans, and it can be talked like this. Entry-level hiring will stay conscious? Yes. The middle layer of the workforce must urgently upskill? Yes. But the real price is not a smaller workforce. The real price is the same workforce producing 4 times more. And if AI can make one engineer as productive as 4, the winning company is not the one that fires 3 engineers. It is the one that takes on 4 times the work. That is how you grow through a disruption instead of shrinking through it. The second idea is about where the real business value sits. Everyone is obsessed with the giant language model, the ones consuming billions in capital. But those giant models are likely headed towards becoming commodities. All of them can write your emails. But the more interesting opportunity is in small focus model built for specific domains. A model trained for banking, for insurance, for freight, and so on. A small model that knows your industry's documents, your compliance rules, your rate structures can create more value for a mid-sized company than any general purpose giants. And building those focused domain-specific solutions is exactly the kind of work Indian firms have already been good at. Remember what I told you about Zoho a few minutes ago. That is this playbook already running from a small town in Tamil Nadu. So, when I look at the SaaSpocalypse, I do not just see destruction. I see the work moving. Away from generic tools towards domain depth. Away from headcount towards productivity. The companies that understand that shift in Silicon Valley, in Bangalore, and yes, in logistics also, are the ones that will be standing on the right side. Now, before I close, let me plant a seed, because there is a bigger question hanging over all of this. Trillions of dollars are being poured into AI infrastructure, data centers, chip and power. And some very serious people are asking whether all of this is the next great bubble. Even Zoho's Bamboo and IBM's chief executive have publicly called the data center build-out exactly that. We have lived through one of those before, and India was actually a beneficiary of the last one. In the late 90s, American companies laid millions of miles of fiber optic cable across the world and borrowed billions to do it, and then went burst when demand did not arrive as per schedule of them. That surplus cheap bandwidth is one of the biggest reasons India's IT and BPO sector could really take off. One era's bubble became another country's opportunity. Could AI follow the same script? That is a story big enough for its own episode, and that is exactly what we will do next time. So, let me leave you with this. The plane over San Mateo said SaaS is dead. I think the truth is more precise. Software that helps human work is dying. Software that works for humans is being born. And every company, whether in Silicon Valley, in Bangalore, or in our own freight industry, now has to decide which side of that line it stands on. If you found this useful, do like, share and subscribe, and tell me in your comments, do you think Indian IT will reinvent itself once again? I will read all the comments and would be glad to reply. Thank you for watching till the end, and see you next week.